Anichka here with the Lootroop Rockers. One question. Can you tell me how many times you've already performed here?
No, we can't. We
Um,
discussed it in the car.
Six, I think six.
Five.
It's no, I think six.
Yeah.
It's a guess, but it's a qualified guess.
Because I was going through the archive of the photos. I'm like, okay, okay.
We were
How
talking.
many times did you find?
5.
All right.
But it's possible
But
that.
promo played here with Supreme in 2004 as well. So
So it almost counts.
I count that. I
Almost.
count that.
You count it. Yeah.
I mean, you're asking us. We were there.
So, can you remember the first time maybe?
Yeah, I remember it. It was a kind of a small stage. It was more like a small wagon. And but I get because in the first years they moved around a little. But I remember one of the earlier years was like in a big swimming like
It was a
like
pool.
a pool
Yeah.
pool land with different kind of swimming pools and stuff. And maybe that was the first time we were here, or it was the second, but it was early.
So, how's that considered to what happened today on stage?
Um, it's grown a lot, and the organization has become better and better every year. But we've been here maybe two or
This is
three.
the third time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, to us, the actual experience of doing the show is not that much different. But of course, it's nice when everything is running smooth and everything is running on time. That's nice.
Because I mean, we had a show here on this stage, like a little later in the evening,
Yeah.
more vibes, dark and everything. But that show we had some technical difficulties. So in a way, this show was really nice because, I mean, it was kind not very pretentious, just having fun and relaxing and celebrating 15 years.
Just to take it a little way back, you started in the early 90s, as right? And that was it.
We actually have the 25th year anniversary next year. So
That's impressive. But my question is like, it wasn't that global phenomenon that hip hop is right now. So can you remember a specific time when you first heard hip hop? It's like, that's the thing.
I started listening in '86 to hip hop. I don't remember exactly what was like the first thing, but it was me and a friend from our hometown. He had some vinyls because his cousin was dating a graffiti writer or something. So, they were a little older and had some vinyls because I was 10 and he was 11 at that time. And I remember we were like really reading the Subway art book, and we were checking out the Style Wars movie, and listening to. It was like a compilation album, I think, from the UK called Electro Hip Hop, and they had like a lot of records, and so that was probably the first time that I heard it, and.
But I remember, like back in those days in Sweden, we were really like searching for it. So we would listen to stuff that was almost hip hop because it felt like.
Right.
You remember those? I remember those Italian. I think it's called Max Mix or Mix Max compilation tapes.
Yeah, but
It wasn't even hip hop, but I
No.
remember the feeling of like that's almost hip hop.
Right.
And pretty early, we had a radio show in Sweden called Soul Corner, and he was playing hip hop and soul from the late '80s. I don't remember how early it was, but I really remember from '89. Because then I was listening more consciously, because earlier it was just, oh, this is the new thing, but in '89, I started hearing the Boogie Down Productions and Manifest with Gangstar, and really. I don't know if I understood that much, but I understood more, and I was like, okay, this is kind of serious, It was that was, maybe not like before that you had maybe the party hip hop, but in '89, I felt like it got political when KRS was doing the "You were put here to protect us, but who protects us from you?"
That's right. Also, as a woman in hip hop, I appreciate what was said on the stage, that the way women are talked about in hip hop is not particularly flattering. I was wondering.
Yeah, but my point was also, why we stopped playing Bandit Queen for a while, because when I wrote it, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this alternative, new version of how women should be, and then after some years, I was like, I'm a man. I shouldn't do a song about how women should be. It should just shut up, but.
But at the same.
Problem is, I like the song, and but for many years we never played it because I was like, nah, it's wrong. But now it's like, okay, but it's bumping.
So are there any female rappers in Sweden, or how are they doing?
Yeah, now the female rappers in Sweden are doing pretty good.
Yeah, this is their year. They're taking over.
Yeah, the scene in Sweden with Swedish rap is really, like, the last couple of years it's really been blowing up, and there's been more girls. I would say actually the ladies are actually the biggest ones this year.
Yeah.
Like
they all rap in Swedish, so it's kind of hard for people outside of Sweden to know it. But yeah.
But it's not like they're big because they're girls. It's just there's a couple of big acts who are women, and that's cool because
they're
it's
really
not
good rappers, and I think after a while, Sweden and the Swedish scene was ready, because the female rappers, they've been there for a while, but I guess the people weren't ready for it. We put one of those girls, her name is Cleo, we put her on the Swedish album that we dropped some years ago.
Yeah, and the album before we put Mapei on.
Yeah.
On the album, she was already doing great, and she's she had a kind of a career in the States, but there's a couple of girls actually women.
That's wonderful to hear. And these guys who are the young blood, because I don't know anything that's fresh in Sweden, they told me to ask you about Young Lean, if that he's big. So do you follow like the new trends that are going on?
We don't actually follow the trends, I guess, but we're actually Young Lean's like one of the guys who's his closest. One of the guys who's working with him used to be our booking agent in Sweden, so we have some connections. I'm not really a fan of the music. I guess in a way, I'm too old for it, but I'm a fan of them doing like international. They're just doing it internationally, not really caring too much about the old ways of doing things. But I'm not really a fan of the music, but I don't think I have to be. I'm more of a fan of like their crew just not giving so much of a fuck. They're like, it's like a punk rock thing, which we can identify with, because when we came out, we felt like we were the punk rock we were like the new punk rock. We felt like punk rock is old, hip hop is the new punk rock. We are that group. So in a way, I think they kind of carry that torch, even though the music is way different and the top. I'm not really a fan of the topics because it's too much. I don't know. It's just weird stuff going on. But I'm a fan of the attitude.
Right.
And they also never really cared about Sweden. They just went straight for the international market, and they succeeded outside of Sweden way before. Like, and now people in Sweden start to be like, oh, but it's working outside of Sweden, so now
must be cool.
So now we like it.
Yeah.
So because people in Sweden, they were kind of like.
Yeah, a lot of people.
They were dissing it, but now it's like, oh, now it's okay. So I like that as well, because they were like, we don't care. Our aim is bigger. It's the whole world. I like that.
And so, what about your audience? Like, do you prefer to target like the older, kind of people? I don't want to sound like that, but
we don't have a choice. We go places, people show up, we do shows, and that's it.
We don't have a plan. We don't have a plan. We just, musically, when we're in the studio, we can never say like, okay, we should do an album now that should appeal to those people or those people. When we make the music, It just has to come from our hearts. And then when we drop a new album, we do a lot of songs from the new album. And then when we do a show like this, you know, because our last album was last year or something.
Yeah.
So we don't do any new songs. We just do old songs.
Right.
Well, actually, we didn't even do one song from the last album today. We did songs from the one before, but I guess we crossed out the new ones today, actually. But yeah. So we don't. It's not really a plan. I mean, it's kind of nice to see young people being at the shows, you know, and it's nice to see the older people as well, because some of them we know. In some cities, we know some of the crews, you know, and it's cool to see, like, and it's such a big difference now, because when we started, it was mostly dudes, you know. There was not that much women at the shows, and that has changed so much for the last like 20 years now. I mean, a lot of kids growing up with hip hop.
Right, exactly.
It's such a, it was what we wished for when we were kids, you know, to even find hip hop, and now it's everywhere. So that makes it weird in a sense, but it also makes it cool to see like people grow up in that music.
And so, are you planning on another album? Because you got it rolling.
No,
We were talking about it on the way here, actually, but it's a different kind of project. So we haven't set a time, like a time.
we're not good at
For
making
it.
plans, actually. We've been, for every album, it's just been like, now it's the time to start. And now in the bus here, we talked about, because we live in different cities.
Okay.
So we meet up, you know, a day like today, we meet up. They drive us from the airport, and we started talking in the car. And so maybe something's gonna happen. We don't really know. That's usually the best way to do it, you know.
Because this year I came out with an album in Swedish that MB produced, and right now MB and Cosmic have just more or less finished recording the new Cashel Brothers. So they're about to mix that and release that. So I think MB has been pretty busy. So we're kind of waiting for him to say like, okay, I'm ready to do it now.
Yeah.
And when he's ready, then we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So.
One more question. I was wondering if you, like, if that would be even possibility for you to do like a collaboration when you're rapping in Swedish and some American act to go featuring in English. If that would be something that you would be even thinking about to make it.
No problem, really, but I mean, it would feel more natural to rap in English if they're rapping in English, because when you're in the studio, you know, you want to get that vibe together. You want to understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, and also like doing it when we did an album in
communicate.
Swedish, you know, and in Sweden, the Swedish rappers are the biggest rappers right now. You know, of course there's like JC and that level, but on the like club level, it's the Swedish rappers are they're biggest right now. So if we would do another Swedish project, I think we would do like collaborations with other Swedish people, you know? Because the Swedish scene is great right now. I wish I wish people would understand the language, but it happens all over Europe. People are doing more.
Yeah, this is like, I don't think that I've seen so many Czech acts on earlier hip hop camps when we've been here, you know.
True.
So it's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think like I don't really listen to American rap at all. But if I would do a song with an American rapper, then you know we would try to put it on a English-speaking album.
Yeah.
Would make more sense.
Okay, well, thank you very much.